thank you so much for staying with us. It's 10 minutes past 11 a.m. and the station still remains the People's 105.5 FM Abuja. You can also see us on television as Universal Television UTV Africa, reaching you all across the world. My name is Maddox, and we are in conversation mode. I did tell us earlier that we'll be having political thoughts formator. Is that the right word? Yeah. Well, he's one of those who form political thoughts. He is, they call him a Marxist, but I think he has his own different total political theory that ranks him in the same position as Karl Marx. He is one of the ideologues of Nigerian politics, those who don't just play politics because you can win elections and make money from politics, but people who expound theories and ideas and they expound them and live by them. He is an academic, a professor, and he has a very long CV, but he said, please leave the CV. Just let's keep it to the fact we're talking politics. I remind you of his political life, where he's the founding National Secretary of the Alliance for Democracy, AD. He is also a distinguished fellow of the Abuja School of Thought. He is also someone who played a key role in the struggle for democracy in Nigeria, which make people remember him more as a human rights advocate. But he simply likes to be called by his names, but I can't do that. Let's welcome Professor Udenta. Udenta, Prof, good morning. Great pleasure to be in the same room with you.
It's a pleasure to have me this morning. Hello, Nigerians, everybody watching and listening. You come on board.
All right, Prof, a lot is happening in Nigeria. I'm supposed to have a longer conversation with you, but you have your prior engagements, and it wouldn't be fair to keep it way too long as I would have loved to, but I know this is a precursor to a longer and larger conversation with you. But we are looking at Nigeria's politics today. So many people will look at it and shake their heads and say, this is not where we're supposed to be. All right, yes, people can find themselves being not where they're supposed to be, but it's bad enough we're not even heading in the right direction. Are you of that mind, especially considering the political space now? Some people are saying it's constricting. Is that the truth, or probably not so true?
The state of Nigerian democracy today, or democratic process, is, to put it very plain, mildly plain, embarrassing. In 1998, when General Sani Abacha, the maximum ruler, the despot, died, we thought the country was set on a path of recovery, or regeneration, or rebirth. Then a month later, M. Kabiola, who won the June 12 election, equally died in incarceration. That brought up Salami Abubakar, the general, into the stage to construct some delicate transition to civil rule. 1998 was very important. The year was very combustible. The country was on edge. The radical elements, within the elites in the formation, the Eastern Mandate Union and the DECO and so on, and even the broad mass of the people, campaign for democracy, CLO and so on, all were agitating for return to civil rule and constitutional order and media rights and press freedom. Abubakar set up three political parties: Alliance for Democracy, PDP, and then APP, All People's Party, as then the party was called, to midwife the transition to democracy. When Obasanjo won, Obasanjo formed an inclusive government by drawing elements from the AD and APP into his cabinet. When Yar'Adua took over from Obasanjo in 2007, he expanded on that by creating an office for civil society relations, so that empower civic space leaders and structures will have an avenue for them to ventilate. In addition to what Obasanjo created, the Office of Inter-Party Relations, Jonathan equally sustained that tradition until he left office 2015. The last 10, 11 years have been horrendous in terms of the degeneration of Nigerian democracy, to say the least. The Buhari 8 years was almost as if a war had been declared on the Nigerian people on all fronts. Insecurity increased and expanded. Nigeria became the poverty capital of the world. The social system began to decompose, and fault lines started to explode, and ungoverned spaces became enlarged. The idea was that when Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was part of that struggle in 1999, took office in 2023, that some sort of a research will occur. Unfortunately, what I've seen is intensification and rather radicalization of the failures of the Buhari presidency. He's taking it a notch higher than where Buhari left it. 10 more million people have been added to the poverty list. The economy has equally tanked. For 2 years, going to 3 years, capital projects have not been implemented. The budget of 24, the budget of 25, not to talk of 26, just in the making. More money have been borrowed by him alone, among other presidents combined, both external borrowing and both internal borrowing. Insecurity has expanded from where Jonathan left it in the northeast to take the entire northwest, north central, and bleeding actually into the southern part of the country. So the list goes on and on. If you take your mind away from governance and policies and look into the political terrain, which you asked me, you will discover not just the constriction of the political space, but actually state capture. Presidential power has been unleashed in various directions. INEC has been constructed now in a manner that its chairman, Amupicho, seems to be essentially curated and produced or procured to perform the task of ensuring that multi-party democracy doesn't breathe. The National Assembly enacted an amendment to the Electoral Act that seems to favor a party in power and a president in office, not a law for all the ages. Laws are not made for the exigencies of the moment. Laws are made with a mindset not only to the present, to the future, and even the unformed future when generations have not been born. But this one seems as if it has been constructed to restrict the ability of opposition party members to form credible parties, to engage in meaningful campaign, and to have robust contestation for power 2027. The courts sometimes seem to be weaponized, but in some instances they seem a little bit a lot of responsibilities. So all combined, the political atmosphere is not positive. The atmosphere is overcharged with insinuations and charges of meddlesomeness of presidential power wielders, of INEC, of the National Assembly, and of the court system. So if care is not taken, we may find that democratic risk factors may have increased exponentially, and Nigeria may actually be democratically backsliding. It is this democratic backsliding that gives people pause. Are we on the right path of engaging liberal democratic governance? Are we on the right path of unfolding the banners of presidential system? Are we on the right path having a country that is federal in name and in form, but not in content and in essence? This particular election coming 2027 is a very defining moment for our history and for the fate of Nigeria as a nation. And I do hope that all those who are responsible for managing that process, the government, the security agencies, and INEC, are up to their responsibilities to ensure a smooth level playing field and ability of Nigeria to organize and then vote for their choice.
Prof, talking about the political parties more like being in disarray, some people are saying it's unfair to blame the president or the ruling party for the state of affairs in these political parties, that the woes of these political parties are self-inflicted. But others are also calling for different sets of reforms. Some are saying as a low-hanging fruit, and to start with, the current INEC chairman should either resign or be dropped. People are hinging on so many things, including partisanship and some of the decisions that the chairman has taken, which they believe indicate that he would not
conducting free and fair
a midwife free and fair elections. Which are you of the school of thought that there's a need to reform things that President Tinubu, like former President Yaradua, should be able to say, well, the election that brought me in was not quite very up to scratch. Let me reform the systems genuinely. Or you think he's not to blame? Let's point fingers at the opposition.
You see, liberal democratic governance ensures the availability of liberal political space and a space or even contestation at the level of the civic-minded groups. Look at Premier Adwa you mentioned. Look at Bring Back the Girls. They mobilized, organized, they weaponized that struggle. They even internationalize it. Barack Obama's wife, Michelle, was wearing that banner.
Yeah, Bring Back the Girls.
And then they used the Unity Fountain in Abuja, in the federal capital here, opened by the president to canvass his own defeat. And when he lost, he accepted it. Today, that Unity Fountain is shut down by the DSS, locked up, denied to the people. This is something a radio station, other radio should be canvassing openly. You should pray that place, because democracy cannot thrive when it's shut down, robust conversation. Look at Donna Buhari and SARS, under Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and hunger, brutally put down, with many losing their lives. Some kids even detained. One of them collapsed in court. So these are signs that the government has become increasingly repressive, what they call a hybrid regime that is authoritarian in nature. It may masquerade in form a democratic government, but in essence, it has become increasingly tiptoeing into totalitarianism. If you look at what Yar'Adua did, as you said, my election was inconclusive virtually. Supreme Court managed to just give me victory. 4/3. I will settle this matter and have a better electoral platform for Nigerians. And he did through the Ways panel. He died before he could realize that Jonathan sustained that effort. And 2010 had an electoral act. He had what to say, we did multi-party democracy. In the sense that the Shomole who was competing for power, Mimiko and Manchopi to be in Anambra all benefited from that mindset. We don't need to have one single party in the country. We need to have other parties coming to the conversation. He did it. He supported them. He congratulated them. Jonathan registered APC. He could have told Jega, the INEC chairman said, we do not want any party to interfere in this process. After the election registered, we didn't do so. 2013, he registered a party that would be in office. Today, you find a PDP that ruled the country for 16 years imploded, not because of internal features and controversy, but externally induced crisis. Very clear. A business of Dave City, I don't have any problem with him as a person, but the idea that the minister served the interest of a sitting president, 24700%. So his involvement in the affairs of the PDP was designed by the president of the country, his party in office, to do what? Reduce the capacity of the PDP to function. That was successfully executed. PDP today is in shambles. ADC, where people now converge, they say, okay, we have found a new home, and we have carefully navigated the transition from the old order to the new order. Therefore, let us be. INEC of Mahmoud, before he left, let them be. Mupita came in, suddenly everything that went up. The appeal court had a ruling. That ruling was perverted by INEC under Mupita, who has now reversed himself upon the Supreme Court judgment. So there's a direct interference by INEC in the life and health of these political parties. So we do hope that other existing parties now, the NDC, which is a new home for Nigerian political leaders, a home for progressive-minded people. Where some of the leaders of ADC ran to, and others from PDP and so on have flooded into. This party that was be carefully constructed over the years as an ideologically clear and philosophically sound movement should be allowed to stay where it is, contest this election, and hopefully win the coming election. On a final note, I've said it on several platforms and on several fora. Professor Mopiton was produced and curated to serve the purpose of endangering the head of our democracy by imposing a single-party dictatorship. Why do I say so? The guidelines he has produced has been radically different from any guideline ever produced by any INEC chairman. Nigeria has not expanded the scope and form and geography. We didn't add Ghana or add any other country to our territory. 2022, APC had its presidential primaries 7th August. The last of the major party to do so. Thereafter, state primaries commenced, governorship and state assembly till September. Now, the parties are in crisis induced by the government of the day, and they now shut everybody down to 30th May. You have to finish your registration, you have to upload it, you have to do your primary election, you have everything from the subnational governorship, state assembly, presidential, senatorial, House of Reps within 26 days. That's almost impossible for parties in crisis to ever navigate out of. But the ruling party is humongous, beefed up by swallowing so many other people, swallowing governors, swallowing ministers, and become obese. But that obesity is managed. That sense of flatulence is managed because they are in power. And they do know that if you don't have this constituted timetable, a lot of the people who are disgusted and disgruntled and discontented will leave. Now, for the first time, you can't even switch parties during the transitional period, which infringes on your fundamental right as a citizen. All done by Mupita to ensure that Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the current president of APC, may stand this next election alone. Unfortunately, Nigerians have said no. That's why the becoming hope of NDC is very important for us to say a new party has emerged and has rolled out of the firing blocks, and Nigerians embracing it in their millions. There will be competition in 2027, whether Mupita and Bola Ahmed Tinubu and APC love it or not. And I'm sure Nigerians will speak with one voice. 2027 will not be an examination of the prospect of the position to govern well even. As much as important as that is, it will be a reckoning for the president and his team. Typically, a second term bid It's for the incumbent to say, in 4 years I've done this, I've done that. Give me 4 more years to continue what I'm doing. So to ask Nigerians to give this current government 4 more years is to ask them to give 4 more years of impoverishment, of discontentment, of ruin and penury. Look at the cost of the staple foodstuff. Look at the cost of other commodities. Look at the cost of medical bills. Look at the cost of fuel, of diesel, of cooking gas. And there's no money in the hands of the people to even survive. Look at insecurity. These are the things the president and his team will run on. So whether there's an attempt to shut the democratic conversation and restrict the political space and the idea of contestation, the parties will survive. It's part of the odds. And the next election will be a reckoning time for the ruling party called APC.
And you think the NDC, the Nigeria Democratic Congress, offers is in a position to offer a contest that probably win?
It's a child of compelling historical circumstance. And this is an idea whose time has come. It's a combination of the will of the broad segments of the Nigerian population across our geographies, the north, east, west, and south, to come together and construct a new set of conversation about power, policies and programs and politics. NDC has infused within its ranks the radical energy of its founding fathers and mothers, especially its key driver or envisioner, and then the irrepressible, charismatic force that P2B and one person have brought into the mix. And increasingly, the support structure the party is building and the alliance that will come with all the opposition parties. When all these integers come together to build this equation of power, NDC is primed to be that driving force to restore Nigerian democracy in 2027.
All right, Prof, before I let you go, quick one. As a quick fix for where we are today, do you still think Amubiton quitting now or being made to quit would actually be part of making the process more wholesome? And then secondly, looking at the provisions of the Electoral Amendment Act, do you think some parts of it should be amended? If so, pinpoint some of them so that it could be a guide for those who want to agitate that we need to make the system better than it already is.
These are two very important questions. I've told other people in the past who have had conversations with that. Most INEC chairmen, if not all, incredibly lose their reputation or credibility after elections. They come with high degree, or pedigree. From the First Republic, Second Republic, Third Republic, even this Fourth Republic. The first was just Akpata. But just Akpata, he was very good. Then Gobadia. Then ultimately they brought Morris, a professor of biochemistry or pharmacology or something, who did well in the US. And then Jega, and then Mahmoud. All with incredible, impeccable. But after elections, Nigerians lose hope in them and say, these guys look as if they were compromised. This affects some INEC chairman has lost credibility almost a year to an election.
Even without conducting an
election. That's the tragedy of Amopito. And I do not see why he's still hanging around. He cannot conduct any successful election people will believe in. Nobody's going to accept any result Amopito conducts an election. Not Nigerians, not the world. So the key thing is that we do know that even if you remove Amopito, the president of the day will still appoint another person. But at least the sign that you have to look for somebody better, or the person is better served the notice that if you don't go the way, if you don't do well, you go the way of Amopito. So please, help me let Nigerians know in the millions, it is time for this Amopito man to leave office and go. He has served no useful purpose since he came on board, and he served no useful purpose going forward. To even help the president and the system. Is it better to conduct an election that's already been rejected ab initio, up front, or to step out of the way and allow somebody better than you, morally speaking, to conduct the election? Secondly, I may give it 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, sections and subsections amendment of the electoral act that could be amended. But I have a different mindset. I'm among the scholars who believe that this electoral act shouldn't have been amended in the first place. You need about 5 or 10 years or so, lifespan, to really amend it. You can keep amending every day. Because you need to understand that mass mobilization, mass conscientization, let the political parties, their agents and the supporters and civic groups and monitors do their job, can restrain INEC from doing something better, from something terrible. Elections are done on two fronts. The internal environment, You're dealing with the internal environment, the INEC environment, the electoral act, the day of the election, the way the people are marshaled there, the workers come to work, they push all the materials, both city ones and so on. External one, you and I. Nigeria even has an advantage over the US. We have a uniform system of identification. In the US, it is state by state. Some library card here, some community card there, some voter ID card.
Driver's license,
So on. Here is that you have a biometric system, you have a card reader, you have a BVAS, then you have IRF. Where are we going to get to say we are finally tied up on the loose ends? Let us simply look at the system as imperfect, but something we can work with in order to grow our democracy.
Well, Prof, unfortunately, I have to let you go, but trust me, it's been very stimulating. It's almost like we've been talking for hours, but thank you so much for your insight this morning. And I'm putting a spell on you now with all the gods of the land that you must come back very soon.
I don't need the spell to come back here. And when I come back here, we'll have a full 1 hour blast to educate and enlighten and inform our people.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Udenta. Udenta, he is a political philosopher and a political leader of thought, and one of those who fought for democracy and human rights in Nigeria. He's been talking to us on the current political system and has made a promise he's going to come back to talk with us once again. Thank you so much, Professor Udenta, for coming.
It's a pleasure to be with you guys this morning.
And that's where we would wrap it up this morning, but we will be having a break. When we come back, we'll be talking with Honorable Osondo Nnorom, who is an aspirant for the Ezinite State Assembly seat in Imo State under the auspices of the NDC. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
In a world where challenges persist, we seek solutions for a sustainable tomorrow. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, guides our path towards climate action to social justice as we build resilient communities. From embracing circular economies to reducing carbon footprint to promoting eco-innovation to empowering marginalized communities and ensuring inclusive governance and human rights. Through integrated approaches, we are fostering transformative change. I am Ifi Unyekwere. Join me on the Development Report as we explore the intersection of sustainability on Universal Television Africa towards sustainable development.
And welcome back. And it's still the People's 105.5 FM Abuja, and you can also see us live on television on Universal Television UTV Africa. My name still remains Maddox, and well, the seats have changed, or should I say the person on the seat has changed, and we're now being joined by Honorable Osondo Nnorom. Honorable Osondo Nnorom is a member of the Nigeria Democratic Congress, NDC, and he is aspiring to be a member of the Imo State House of Assembly under the auspices of the NDC. Honorable Nnorom, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Maddox. Good morning.
All right, so let's start with your choice of political party, the NDC. The NDC is one of the newest babies. If political parties were babies, and you are now in the fold of that party. Tell me, what led you to join the NDC, and what are your political antecedents before joining the NDC?
Before, I've been on this program before, by the way. Good morning, viewers. Before joining the NDC, I was I'm still a strong grassroots leader in the APC. Truth be told, my name is known in the circles of grassroots movement both here in Abuja and in Imo State. Through my efforts, a lot of movements were made in connecting to the grassroots. One of the things that I did was I helped form or help lead the first ever grassroots elections in the history of Nigeria. I helped fund and execute that project. Coming to my conviction with getting on board with the new movement, I simply believe, based on my strong conviction, that democracy must survive. And we all have different ideologies of what we want Nigeria to become. And me joining the movement of NDC is based on seeing what the people want. The people want change. The people are hungry. The people want to see what is different. The people don't want to feel maligned. The people want to be heard. Most importantly, I believe I have what it takes to represent the people of Mbise in the State House of Assembly. With my plethora of experience in the grassroots, both locally and internationally, I believe I'm the right man for the job.
All right, so apparently you bringing on board your experience. Like you said, you have international experience too. You've been here and there and done all that. But the Nigerian political landscape is one in which some people are saying that it looks like the president and the ruling party, the APC, are working toward having a one-party state. Is that what made you to leave the APC and go elsewhere? Or do you even think that that drive for a one-party state is really happening?
I have written countless articles while I was in the ABC alluding to the idea of a one-party state won't happen, can't happen. Simply being, democracy is about arguments. Democracy is about he who has his own opinions, expressing it freely without fear of repercussion. Being a one-party state, it doesn't work with the concept of what Nigeria stands for. Opposition, it is the core principle of what democracy means. We are modeling our democracy after the Western states. So tell me, where does the one-party system fit? Even the almighty President Donald Trump, in all of his glory, still has to contend with the Democratic Party. So, no, it shouldn't happen in Nigeria, and I am not a proponent of it. Thank you.
So, looking at the political landscape, what do you think are the chances of all the opposition parties, and especially the NDC, which is like the new rave now, which is shaping up to become the biggest opposition party in Nigeria? Looking at how the political landscape is shaped, do you think indeed, really and truly, leaving idealism aside, that really opposition parties stand any chance in the coming election? Some people think it's already done. The APC has the 31 governors, overwhelming majority in the two chambers of the National Assembly and elsewhere. So the other parties, as far as most people are concerned, should just forget about it. I was with someone this morning who said, as far as this election is concerned, it's over. People could start thinking about 2031. What's your take?
It's a contest. I mean, even if you skew the contest, you cannot overwhelmingly break the will of the people. I don't think anything is finite till it's done. And most importantly, making such definite statements, it's criminal. It means you have some kind of inside information that I don't have. I mean, this is what, May? Election is next year. So how can you make such definite statements? I seriously advise anybody who speaks like God should understand that Almighty God has the final say, and never underestimate the underdogs. No matter how much the will of the people speaks, I would suggest and advise it shouldn't be subverted. So yes, I am for the underdogs, and I am for a better Nigeria. Remember, Nigeria is the project. Thank you.
So let's end this conversation talking about you now. What do you bring on board? What are you going to do differently from what is being done? And what kind of representation do you think the people of Mbise and the Imo State in general should actually be looking out for you from you said Osondo Agwike?
The Winte movement.
The Winte movement. What should they look out for you? What are you bringing on board? What are you doing differently? Someone said the Wike movement. You had to correct them.
I did correct them quickly.
Wite
is our movement's name. Listen, I come into the race, I come into the party with plethora of experience in the grassroots movement. Yes, I have to say, and you cannot sweep away where you started. Of course, I started with the APC. I have made lots of friends in the APC, and I have learned from a lot of mistakes that possibly I saw in the APC, and God knows I was vocal about them. What do I bring to the table? As a legislator, as a state legislator, it is my duty to ensure that Mbise gets fair representation in Owerri. We're going to write laws, push for better agricultural laws that will encourage good old American investment in Mbise. Not only are we going to do that, we're going to help attract, create enabling investment environment through legislation that will ensure that Mbise is attracting at least 1 or 2 independent American power plants. So what I'm bringing my over 15 years of labor, being a labor leader in the United States, bringing my over 7 years of being over 6 years or 5 years of being a grassroots leader in Nigeria to help enable and create an enabling economic environment in Mbise.
All right, listening to you, it's obvious you have had your time in America and all that. But my question here is, you're into a grassroots thing now. Are you still in touch with your grassroots? Can you speak to Mbise Imo State people now? Can you speak to them in their language, in Igbo language, in their dialect, and let them know that this is not some American misadventurer, but this is a true and veritable and realistic contender? Speak to them in Igbo now. Give them your message so that they know you are serious, because I'm seeing a lot of Americanism in you. I'm trying to be sure you're still in touch with your roots.
Ndeka inde ono. Aha mwo sondo Nnorom. Osondo Agwike abelanum hunu chewele kwenye. When menu unu di ahwa. When weteru unu di ahwa. When kwuru n'ododo owo se unu yemi ike m chọwa. Aga m ịgwa weteru unu American agriculture. That is when hụkwara na anya kem bie ye ebirim na rural America. Aga m iwe enezinite pom anya ewere ememe obodo. Auto ọkụ na-adị n'ụlọ ọnụ aga m ime make sure say mmere mgbe niile m nwere ike Chineke nyere m. Wetere unu power plants arụ ọrụ unye through legislation. Ọwụm na-arụ na ekwotukwele m ọwụm na-arụ, but when they want a good representation, onye man not the legislation. Ide hopefully a pass yaragia. Oto eji pass one legislation will lobbying. Onye di social onye no na house ya na as a house member. Oma hoto yoche me hobla. Ndeka anya ora ne mwe. Amjie. Nde wouldn't.
All right, and they say the apple does not fall far from the tree. Thank you so much, Honorable Nnorom, for coming this morning. I think you passed the test in flying colors. I don't know, any last words you have to say to our audience this morning? Quite very welcome.
To my audience in Abuja and Owerri, Nigeria, watch out for the Winte movement. Osondo Agwike. Also, I want to dedicate this movement to my late father, Comrade Nnorom. Dad, this is for you. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable Osondo Nnorom. He is a member of the NDC. He's aspiring to be elected as a member of the Imo State House of Assembly to represent the good and wonderful people of Ezinidembise. Thank you so much, Honorable Osondo Nnorom, for coming this morning.
Thank you, Maddox.
And that's where we wrap it up this morning. And my job is done this week. I'll see you again next week here on the People's 105.5 FM Abuja and on Universal Television, UTV Africa. Till then, keep it locked and don't go anywhere.